Hello guys, and welcome to another video. What I found out in the local flea market again is a white Nintendo DS for $3, and I couldn't resist. Of course, it has no pen, might have several problems. I have no idea. It's broken. I found out that the hinge also is broken, so the top screen is loose, but I haven't tested thoroughly. I just thought that in the event that we have a top screen problem, we have two options, and every time you have a top screen malfunction over some Nintendo DS, you can see the hinge is broken here. You have two options: either to turn it to GBA machine, in other words the Game Boy Advanced, because it has down here the Game Boy Advance cartridge slot. This is just a cover, so you can turn it to a decent GBA console, single screen GBA like Nintendo DS hybrid, or you can replace the top screen with some additional bugs, and you can refurbish it, kind of. Of course, I have no idea if this powers up, if I can charge the battery after I assume so much time left out in the rain, but I will try to find an extra pen and whatever is needed to make it work. If it doesn't, I will keep it for spares. As I said, it was just $3, so I can use the plastics, I can use the battery compartment cover, I can use the buttons and whatever for other projects. So let's see what is going on with this guy. Okay, believe it or not, this is 2 months after the initial presentation of my new Nintendo DS, and I kept waiting for a spare part. I luckily have my original power supply, so I have tested it in the meantime, and I found out that the battery can be charged and can hold up to about an hour. I've cleaned it and I found a nice white pen in my spares, in my Nintendo DS spares box, and I found out that the hinge problem can be fixed with some sticky tape, double-sided tape, or simply wrapped it with some paper and can hold. And I have tested the console with a cartridge, a classic Nintendo game cartridge, and of course I managed to find what the problem is, because there would be a problem, right? Should be a problem. And so the top screen is out of order, giving us this whitish color, and that's it, blank screen but white, which means it can be powered, but it cannot detect the graphics, the signals not coming right from the console. So again, as I thought of it in the first place, I had to come up with an idea, either to turn it to a GBA, which needs some hardware modifications and some twisting around the circuitry, and get rid of the top part completely, or that's a nice thing to do if you don't want to spend any more money onto something like this. Or I could actually go on and order a new screen from eBay, and so this is what I did. So I've been waiting for the replacement, the top screen replacement, to arrive right at my door, and now I need to tear this thing apart. It's going to be the first time to do this on a Nintendo DS, although it's not the first time that I'm willing to repair a Nintendo DS, and believe me, it's not my favorite part. There are so many little tiny pieces in there. And so, as I always do, I'll give you an estimation if you decide to if you ever decide to replace the top screen of your Nintendo DS. For me, it was $13. including shipping. I try to find the best guy out there to provide me with not only the top screen replacement part, which is this one, but also a couple of scoops, plastic scoops to open the device, and a pair of the right screwdrivers, and a pair of wipes for the screen. The couple of the screwdrivers are tri-wing, because we need that, and the normal Phillips type of screwdriver. Now, my gut feeling is that the ribbon cable, like this one, has been cut on the existing screen, so nothing else other than the ribbon cable cut or damaged, because, as I said, the screen can be powered up, but not all the signals can be identified, so we have no graphics on the screen. So let's see. If you have your own set of screwdrivers and tools in your lab, that's fine. I'm going to be using those two that were inside the box. We have a couple of screws here, a couple of screws up there at the top. You need to remove the plastic tabs before you get underneath, and then we have one more to go with the battery compartment, but that is not all. Underneath the battery we'll find a couple of other screws, and then we have the tri-wing one right in the center where the cartridge slot is. Another great tip I can share, and I mean it, is try to keep your desk organized. We have two screws here and one more on the side right here to be removed, and yeah, keep your desk organized and clean, because there are so many little tiny plastic pieces falling off from this device while disassembly that you don't want to lose anything. So let's remove those screws. Another good thing I need to point out here, that good thing is that it still has the original Nintendo battery, this one. Using second-hand equipment, you might find mock-up batteries or cheap imitations. So here is the last screw, the tri-wing one, right there where the Nintendo DS cartridge slot is. So this is the final step in order to remove the plastics and open the sandwich. And here where is the fun part begins. I always keep in mind when removing the left and right side buttons to pull them off the way they are, with the plungers into place and the springs along with it. But I never made it so far. So here and here you can find left and right side buttons. Try not to lose the springs nor the plungers, and keep them on the side. They have to be placed very carefully by the time we need to put everything back. So I will start pulling out the bottom part, as I did. This is the volume knob and the volume circuitry, and this thing always tends to keep dust and dirt, so you might want to clean it with alcohol, or you simply might want to dust it off a bit. Take a good look around the motherboard for any kind of corrosion. The motherboard is still attached to the upper part of the console. Only the bottom part now has been removed, and you can clean it, you can wash it, you can do whatever. Just keep in mind you have to always keep the pieces and the screws organized. Now the goal is to remove also the upper part, of course, in order to get to the upper screen and replace it. But before we do that, we need to tear this thing apart completely, which means we need to remove the motherboard as well. And here you can find the ribbon cable and a couple of cables coming from the top screen compartment, which is the Wi-Fi antenna, and the ribbon cable for the upper screen. Now at this point I really want to put the plastics in the dishwasher and clean them thoroughly. So if you decide to do this, just make sure on the right hand side there is this little plastic thing which is the on-off switch knob, and you have to remove also the volume knob, the plastic thing that apart from the pen, of course, and whatever you can find. You can also remove this little thing, the plastic that controls the volume operation. And in order to do that, just take a screwdriver and just pull it out and put it aside, and then you can have your bottom part cleaned and washed and whatever you want to do. So this is kind of tricky. You need a screwdriver in order to do this, and always be gentle with this device, with this console, whatever you do, because these are so tiny little plastics, can be broken in no time. So there we have it. So this is the volume knob. And of course, while the bottom part is in the dishwasher, we can start with the main subject of this video, which is the upper screen of the console. We have 4 tops and 4 normal Phillips screws to remove. Just put them aside. Again, try not to lose anything, the tops and the screws. And we get underneath that, we should remove the screen. I believe we do need some double-sided tape. We need also some soldering skills around this area, because we need to desolder and resolder the tiny speakers which are on the left of the screen and on the right of the screen. Before we do that, we need to remove the motherboard completely. And this is quite easy, because we only need to remove a couple of screws here and right across that. Those 2 are standard Phillips screws, and then the motherboard is released. Then you can flip it again like this and separate it from the plastic. The screen, bottom screen is not in great condition, but at least it works. So you have the other plastic part almost released, the one that holds the buttons. You can take the plastic case, this part and the buttons, and wash them separately. That's a good idea, I think. But before we do that, we need absolutely to flip up the retaining flap which holds the ribbon cable for the upper screen right here, and release the ribbon cable from the motherboard. And we have to continue. During this operation, we should disconnect also the white and the black cable which are connected from the motherboard to the antenna for the Wi-Fi, which is located on the upper screen compartment. So 2 more cables to go, and we're almost there. Now, I have seen some videos. This is the Wi-Fi module, the one marked as 671 here. They are removing the module completely. I'm not going to do this. I have just removed the white and the black cables. The black is going under the cartridge slot, and the white, if you carefully just take a look at it, it's going around the white plastic case like this. You have to remember how it was, and then you have to put it back the way it was, And if you are not sure, you can watch always this video, and you can take pictures, you can do whatever. Just remember, you have to put the cables back the way they were placed and installed. And so here we have the ribbon cable cut. Obviously, I could bet that was the problem since the very beginning. So the ribbon cable is cut, but not completely, and so we have power going to the screen, but not the whole information that is needed in order to depict graphics. And so this display hinge is always giving trouble because it cuts like a knife. It's sharp. And another tricky thing we need to do is to twist the new ribbon inside the display hinge, which is kind of tricky. It's going to be kind of tricky, but that's the only way it would be possible for this to be flexible. Now let's start with the front panel. This transparent protective plastic for the screen, you can remove it. It's stuck with the upper part screen with double-sided tape, and then you can remove the speakers and the Wi-Fi antenna, which is the PCB on the right hand top corner. Or you can leave the protective cover for the screen and try to pull out the screen and put the new one in the same position. Then we can solder the speakers into place, put the Wi-Fi antenna into place, and everything will be almost as good as new. So just remove those two stickers, desolder the speakers, then we can remove this little PCB, which is the Wi-Fi antenna, and finally we can pull out the screen without removing the protective transparent cover from the front panel, and just pull it gently. You can see that it's stuck with double-sided tape like this. These are the remains, the leftovers from the existing tape. I used some of this old tape in order to hold the new screen into place, because it's okay. Some parts of it are okay, or you can completely remove it using some alcohol, and then you can cut this good quality new tape that comes along with the package. But at least at this point I found out that this one is strong enough to hold the new, pretty strong enough to hold the new screen into place. So I didn't use the new tape at all. The next thing to do is, of course, to desolder the speakers. Exactly the same position like it used to be. You have to desolder from this old one and solder it onto the new one. Using a soldering iron of 15 watts, you don't need excessive heat, because you are soldering onto a very delicate ribbon cable after all. Here we have the new screen fitted, and the ribbon cable has been somehow twisted around the display hinge. Little plastic part fell off, I don't know how and when, and all the other parts, the plastic case and the buttons and everything, have been washed and cleaned thoroughly, and I guess we're ready to move to the test. But before that, of course, we need to put everything back together. We have another thing to do, another operation which needs a bit of attention, or actually I would say 2 points we need to pay some extra attention to. And these are how to put back the Wi-Fi cables the way they used to be, the black one underneath the cartridge compartment, and the white one onto the bottom case. And the second thing, of course, we need to put back the way it used to be. Is the couple of the trigger buttons, left and right, just to make sure that they work like they should. Those two, left and right buttons, spring and the plunger, and everything into place, so you have the same operation, the right operation, and that's always something I have to remember and do again and again every time I have to deal with a Nintendo DS Lite or the Nintendo DSi or whatever, because it's very delicate equipment. So I promise, if I stumble across another system with broken upper faulty upper screen, I'm going to turn it to GBA in the future and make another video, because apparently this one went well, and the crystal clear picture indicates that we fixed everything, even the hinge, with some double-sided tape so that the screen can stay in position. And yeah, I think we I can call it a wrap and a success for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be catching you soon with another video, another repair and old system, retro stuff, retro gaming, whatever, repair, restoration, review, whatever. I'm pretty happy. I have another DS in my collection now, and I hope you guys enjoyed this and found this kind of useful. And if you did, just give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and as I said, I'll be catching you soon with another video. Apparently this one looks so good, I would like to keep it for myself. I'm not going to sell it. But then, anyways, thanks again for watching. Yeah, I'll catch you soon with another video. Please do subscribe if you haven't done that, and see you soon.